before we begin, I want you to look around you. Make sure you've got all your equipment with you. You've got your pen, you've got your ruler, you've got your pen too. I'm just going to give you a few moments to make sure you've got your things with you. Okay, well done. I believe you've done that. Now, today we are going to be looking at homeostasis. Now, as we always do, I want us to write what our learning objective is. Our learning objective is to understand homeostasis and thermal regulation. Okay? And hopefully, by the end of today, we should be able to explain what homeostasis is and why it's important, and then describe some examples of conditions that needs to be controlled. And later on in the part 2 of this video, we would be able to describe some of the roles of the nervous system and the endocrine system, and also describe the main component of a control system and their function. Now, these are some of the keywords that we've, okay? I'm going to give you a moment to write down these keywords. Now, it is very, very important that you understand that you've written down these keywords, because every single time that we teach and we refer to these keywords, you're able to pinpoint it and also write down what these keywords mean. So I'm just going to give you a few moments to write down the keywords. Alright, well done. Now, the question is, also, just before I forget, we've also got some extra keywords as well. I want to make sure you've got full understanding of it. This is why I want you to also write this particular keyword. Alright, respiration, what is meant by oxygenated blood, what is meant to respire, the heart rate, and breathing rate. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. Alright, now, what I want you to do now is to actually stand up. Yes, I want you to stand up. Okay? And I want you to jog for 30 seconds. Okay? Alright, 3, 2, and 1. Start jogging. Well done. Well done. Okay? Have you done that? Brilliant. Now, I'm sure some of you, your heart is probably racing really fast. Your heart is beating really fast, right? Yes. Sometimes you're probably trying to catch your breath right now. And you might probably be tired. And you might actually be sweating as well, or at least sweating a little bit. Now, there's a lot of explanation to this, why this is happening to you, okay? Just follow me through this. Now, as you were jogging, what was happening is that your cells start to... As you were jogging, what was happening was that your cells start to respire even more. Remember the word respire. This was what I've asked you to write down. Now, apart from respiring, your heart rate and your breathing rate begins to increase. Now, when your heart rate is increasing, it means a lot of blood is being pumped around your body. When we're talking about your breathing rate, we're talking about how much air is taken at a certain time. So a lot of air is being taken at a certain time. Okay? Another thing that's happening as well is that your muscles is actually being provided with oxygenated blood. Now, we need to not link this with your heart rate. Okay? The fact that there's a lot of blood being pumped around your body really, really fast means a lot of oxygenated blood is being taken around your body. Now, when we say oxygenated blood, this is literally blood with oxygen in it. Now, the reason for this is for what we call respiration to take place. So, respiration is where oxygen reacts with glucose, okay, and energy is released at the end. Remember, the fact that you are jogging requires energy, so a lot of energy have to be provided for you to jog. Okay, even your daily activity, the fact that you're sitting down and you're listening to me right now requires energy. I do hope you understand that. Well done. Now, what we're going to do next yes, one thing I actually haven't showed you is the fact that you require what we call glucose. Now, glucose is basically sugar. Now, if you look at a lot of athletes, whenever they finish running, what happens is that they end up taking a really nice juice. Now, this juice is actually a juice that's got sugar in it. Now, like I said, sugar is glucose, and glucose is one of the things that is needed for respiration, for energy to be released. Okay? Now, let's make sense of this. Now, this is the word equation for respiration. Like I said earlier, glucose reacts with oxygen, and these are our waste products, so we don't need them. Carbon dioxide, remember when you breathe out, carbon dioxide is also breathed out, and then water is also a waste product, but energy is released. Now, it is very important to understand that you do not produce energy. Energy can only be released. So in your exam, they're asking you where you get energy from. You say energy is released. Okay? Well done. Now, what I want you to do now is to actually answer this question. Now, James has just come back from a jog. He was panting really hard. I want you to list the things that was happening inside James's body when he was jogging and after jogging. Okay? I'll just give you a few moments to do that. Are you all done? Well done. So, like we said earlier, when James is running, his heart rate and breathing rate increases. Okay? James' muscles was provided with oxygenated blood. Remember, we need energy. James need energy to keep moving. And then, James cells breaks down glucose to release energy by respiration. And this allowed James to keep running. So, how many of us got full marks? I'm very, very sure you got at least 3 out of 4. Job well done. Now, what is our normal body temperature? Can you think about it? Okay, let's have a look. 37 degrees. Okay, so this is actually the optimal body temperature where the body functions at best. So if the temperature is below 37, it's not going to function properly. The body won't function properly. If it's above 37, it's not going to function properly. Okay, now, so it is very important that the body is able to work at the optimal temperature. When we say optimal, not even optimal temperature, optimal condition. So if we're talking about optimal condition, the best condition for the body to work, but in this case, we're looking at temperature. Now, respiration releases what we call thermal energy. That's a type of energy. Okay, when we hear the word thermal, you need to think about heat. For example, when you're running, what happens is you sweat, you feel really, really hot. So that is a type of energy that is also released. Now, this actually causes your body temperature to increase. So it increases from 37 and above, okay? Meaning that is not our optimal body temperature. So something has to be done about it, okay? Now, another thing you should know is that thermal radiation is carried around your body by your blood. That is why you sweat and you feel really hot, okay? Brilliant. So why? Now, when you sweat, sweating is a way by which your body regulates your body temperature. So when you're really, really hot and you start sweating, what happens is that the reason why you sweat is because your body tries to drop the body temperature down to its optimum, which is 37. Okay. Also, you become really, really dehydrated and thirsty, so you would want to drink a really cold drink or cold water. All right. So let's look at the opposite. Now, what happens then when you're really cold? Okay, you start to shiver, you start to rub your body. Okay, it helps to also produce heat. Okay, again, another thing you do as well is you're more likely to actually go somewhere, constantly try to find something to keep you warm. Sometimes you might end up wearing a jumper, probably, or having a blanket, as some of you are doing right now listening to me. Okay, so by doing this way, your body is able to increase the body temperature to its optimal, which is 37. Does that make sense? Well done. Now, we're going to skip this because we've just talked about it. Now, the question now is, what is homeostasis? This is the big word we need to know. From what we've talked about, can you try to have a guess at what homeostasis is? I want you to write it down, what you think it is, based on my explanation, and then we're going to compare answers. So you can pause this video while you do that. Alright, Let's compare answers. Now, homeostasis is the regulation of internal conditions to maintain optimal conditions for enzyme action and cell function. So what does this really mean? We're going to break the word down, okay? We've got what we call regulation. So when you think about regulation, we're talking about control, to control something of the internal environment, so inside our body, of a cell or organism, to maintain the optimal condition, okay, for functions in response to internal and external changes. So for example, if it's really hot outside, it's going to build up your body temperature, so your body has to sweat in order to cool it down and bring it down to the optimal temperature. At the same time, if it's really cold, your body has to find a solution to increase your body temperature. Does that make sense? Well done. Now, I'm going to give you 20 seconds, okay, to think about what do you think the body might need to control. I've already given you one, which is temperature. Try to figure out the rest. Alright, let's have a look at our answers. So, like we said, temperature, sweating, shivering. We've also got blood glucose, okay, your sugar level. Now, this might help you to think about people that have got diabetes. Okay, the people that have got diabetes are unable to control the sugar level in the body. Okay, so normally if we've got an increase in sugar level, the body finds a way to convert the sugar into something and save it. Okay, you're going to learn about that later on. But obviously, or if you have less sugar in your body is able to use the stored sugar and release it. Okay, another thing we need to control, which is obvious, is the amount of water. Okay, it is very important that we've got water in our body. That's why also sometimes we feel dehydrated and we need to drink water. Okay, now, how do you think the body controls this? This is one question. Another question is, why do you think, why does this need to happen? Have a think about that. Okay, now the reason for this, I hope you answered it with me, is because the body needs to reach its optimum condition to function. Remember, it needs to be at a certain level to work really well. Okay, so if the water in the body is not enough to function properly, you have to get some water. If the sugar level is not enough for respiration to take place, you have to get sugar. Does that make sense? Brilliant. Now, the process of homeostasis relies on automatic control system, such as your nervous system and your hormones and your body organ. Okay, so it's a process that needs to work properly and automatic. Okay, it is not something we have to think about before it functions. The body has to do that by itself without you thinking about it, if that makes sense. Well done. Now, I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of this before the next lesson, but there are two types of control system responsible for homeostasis. We have got the nervous system and the endocrine. Okay, now one uses electrical impulses. Yes, I said electrical impulses, so it requires electricity, and the other uses what we call chemical messengers, which are hormones. Okay, so in the next lesson we're going to be talking more about how these two actually work and how they actually how they are defined as our control system and how they are responsible for homeostasis. Okay, now what I've done is to actually provide you with some questions, and I'll need you to do these questions. Some questions are already on EduCake as well, and some questions are also attached to this file. So make sure you do the questions and make sure you're able to email if you're not sure of anything. Okay, thank you very much.